You sit with a querent, whether that is yourself or someone else, a client or a friend. It can be overwhelming, particularly if the querent wants to know lots. They want to understand about their relationship. Why are they being this way? Have they always been this way? Will they be happy with someone else other than myself? Is this a lasting relationship? Often a querent, like I say, whether that's you or the person you're reading for, can come with a whole list of distracting things they want to know about. And where possible, I always try to guide my querent to focus on the most important thing in the reading, and that is the querent themselves. The past has been and gone, the future is not yet written, and we can't ethically control anyone but ourselves. You can try really hard to change the world by changing every other person in it, or you can be a lot more sensible and you can look at yourself and make the changes that you need to make to change how other people interact with you. Often clients will come to me and understandably they want to make sure that another person, which might be their romantic partner, it might be their boss, their friend, their mother, their sibling, is accountable. But if a querent can't be accountable for their own actions, someone else being accountable isn't really going to make that much difference. And of course, the other thing is the other person isn't here. When my marriage went AWOL, rather some years ago now, a lot of my clients said to me, "You're so good at what you do, Maddie. You're so good at helping people to see the truth of the situation. Can't you help your husband?" And my answer was very simple. It was no. Because my husband is not asking me to do that. I have a similar thing. People often give tarot readings, which is lovely. And I do offer that option on my website. But if somebody's been gifted a reading and they turn up and they're not sure, I would rather talk to them about tarot, answer any questions they may have about how it works, and do a much more reflective sort of mind mapping reading to help them to understand the process rather than go straight into a more emotionally honest reading, because I can't help somebody who doesn't actually want the reading. I read the cards. My querent needs to process and understand what I'm saying. So when a client comes to me and they want to know about another, I normally, because there's no absolutes, I normally start with them. I normally do a reflection reading, and I said, well, and I will usually phrase it with, let's start by looking at you. Which, I mean, if I know a situation really well, I might go straight into the other person if we've already done this work quite a few times. Or if it feels that my client might be in, a very pertinent and difficult question, there are times when I might go straight to the other person. But where possible, I want to start with my querent. I want to look at where are you right now. I want to look at what is the biggest issue in your life at this point. I want to look at what do you hold in your unconscious right now. This is important. These two are important. These are cards that we might project onto other people. So if you've come asking to understand about another that you have a relationship with, whether that is family, friend, romantic, work, neighbour, that relationship involves two people. You and them. And the better that you understand your role in that relationship, the better that you can manage the relationship. I want to know about your past. I want to know about where is your head right now. I want to know about your most likely future. And I want to know underneath that all, what is the biggest impact on your life right now. And I want to know about you. And then I will probably do the same spread for the other person. And one of the things I'm looking for even at this early stage, is the dynamics between the cards. I'm looking in particular for repeat cards. In the brief spread that I did for myself, which was more to illustrate how the spread I would use than to deeply read it, the King of Wands was crossing. The King of Wands can be a manipulative, controlling person. The Six of Pentacles was in the past. When I read for the other person, one of the things I'm looking for is repeat cards. I'm looking for, is there any correlation between the two cards? For illustrative purposes, I had the Magician wanting to move on in my unconscious. This person has the Ten of Wands struggling to see how to move on. With the Ten of Wands, his head is buried in the Wands. I had the Six of Pentacles, which can be about being controlled or taking control. The Seven of Wands is about individuality and taking the higher ground. I had the King of Wands crossing. This person has the King of Pentacles and the King of Swords in their spread. They have the King of Swords for their future, which can be about having a plan, creating a plan, making a plan. I had the Moon, which can be about not knowing what the future is. It feels to me as if this person has a plan, because the Ten of Wands can also be about moving on. It can be, I'm not sure how I'm doing it, I'm not sure where I'm going, but I know I'm going. This can be about having a plan. Death, of course, is about letting go and moving on. And we have Justice, the card at the bottom of the pack. It feels to me as if this person has a plan, where actually, just for demonstrative purposes, it felt like I didn't have a plan. And so we're really looking at even at that early stage, we're looking at the difference between the querent and the other person. And then in the relationship spread, normally, and if you've booked a reading with me, I may do this differently, because there are no hard and fast rules in tarot. There are just general rules. But normally, I will start again with the querent. In this relationship, where is the querent? What problems are they bringing to this relationship? How are they interfacing with the other person? And by this point, by the time I'm doing a second reading for my querent, some querents will say, I know who I am, I'm not really interested in me, please. I want to know about the other person. And depending, and both answers are right, depending on where my querent is in understanding what I'm doing, I might say I can better understand them by understanding you first. I am connecting to them through you, which is true. But I might also say we can look to understand the situation between the two of you, but there's no point in just looking at the other person, because you can't really change them. You can change you, and that will often change them. But if you don't understand your part in this relationship, there's not a lot of point in just reading for them. And then I do the same. Who is the other in this relationship? What problem do they have? How are they interfacing with the other person? Depending on the reading, I might do 3 cards for past, present, future, or I might do 3 cards for advice down here, or I might do both. But yet again, the querent is the center of this reading. When I do read like this, most of the time I am really cautious not to blame or shame either my querent or the other person. Often these readings are about parents. Often these readings are adults saying, I'm really struggling with my relationship with my father or my mother. I'm trying to build a better relationship. And we often find that there is childhood wounding. And I am there then to say, I'm not here to blame your parent. I'm here to help you to understand the root of the problem, so that you can deal with it to the best of your ability. The only times that I will blame is if I truly believe there is ongoing abuse, or if somebody is considering going back to an abusive relationship. Once they're out of the abusive relationship, it is all about understanding. There's a couple of key questions I might decide to bring in at this point. I might decide to do something, and they'll usually be 3-card readings. I might do something like, what do you need to know? How can you best act? One that I do love to throw in, which I find really useful, is what is the win-win solution at this point? Because often people come to me and they want to know, should I continue investing in this relationship? Like I say, it could be a boss, a friend, a neighbour, a parent, a sibling, a romantic. Should I continue investing in this relationship, or is it time to walk away? And we can get lost in that black and white question for a very long time. And it can actually mean that we leave relationships before they're fully over, or that we stay in a relationship even when it's time to go, because we're so caught up on the black and white of stay or go. And so in going back to that reading I did where I seem to have issues about feeling controlled and not being sure what my future is, the other person interestingly seems to have a plan. In that situation, what is my win-win solution? What can I do? Me, owning my own shit, if you like, and not enabling anybody else to treat me a certain way. What can I do that regardless of the next step and the outcome, I will be glad that I did? Because that takes it away from the black or white choice, which so many people come to me in bits over. It takes away from the projecting the power onto another person, and it brings it back to enabling me to navigate this situation to the best of my abilities right now. So the Fool is 0. Arguably in this situation, I need to have faith in the future. That's very important. We could see, and if you struggle to remember the past readings, you can always mind map. You can always have a code. Often if a card's really important, I will write KP, King of Pentacles, and just note it down. Of course, if you're doing a reading for yourself, you can also take photographs. Arguably you could do that if you're reading for someone else. But he had the King of Pentacles and the King of Swords. The other person clearly seems to have a plan. I had the Moon. I don't have a plan. I'm fearful for the future. The Moon can be about fear, and the Fool is about hope. So having hope for the future is part of my win-win solution. If you've seen many of my videos, you will know that this is one of my 2 nemesis cards, the other being Temperance. I am not good at sitting with my own emotions. I'm really good at sitting with your emotions. I'm great at that, but I'm not so good at doing it for myself. So the Queen of Cups suggests that sitting with my own emotions will help me, I think, to ease the fear that I was seeing in the Moon. And we have the Devil. The Devil is releasing of self-limiting beliefs. So what the cards are suggesting is, instead of overthinking about the other person in that spread, what I actually need to do is to release some of my self-limiting beliefs so that I can have a hope for the future. It would have been really easy, and clients often try to push me to read deeper and deeper and deeper for another person. Now, sometimes clients just need that, and sometimes clients utterly refuse to listen if I read for them. And that's fine. I meet my client where they are. But the clients that will allow me to make this about them, understanding other people, but the clients that will allow me to empower them, to help them to navigate the present moment, they are the ones that change their life over time. And we have the Two of Wands, perhaps a feeling of both hope and anxiety about the future. So the most important focus, I believe, of any tarot reading is the querent. And that might be you, it might be someone else. Because if the querent can't be accountable for themselves, then anybody else being accountable won't make any difference at all. And at the end of the day, the only person we can really truly impact is ourselves. And I can impact a client because they have come and asked me to. They are actually the ones that initiate the reading, not me. And unless somebody is in or considering returning to an abusive relationship, no blame. Doesn't help anybody. What we're looking at here is how to empower the querent to best navigate the present moment, ideally taking the focus off others and the future and even the past, and bringing it right into the querent in the present moment.